John Avery had never been a man of many words. A widowed single dad raising a curious 8-year-old boy named Luke in a sleepy town on the edge of Oregon, John preferred the silence of his woodshop over the noise of city life. After his wife passed away in a car crash 5 years ago, John moved his son to this quiet town to build a life away from memories that hurt too much to relive. It was a foggy Thursday morning when everything changed. John had just returned from dropping Luke at school when he saw her, standing silently on his porch, 2 small children clinging to her legs. Her clothes were soaked from the rain. Her eyes, hardened by life yet filled with exhaustion, met his with an urgency that stopped him cold. I'm sorry to just show up like this, she said quietly, her voice rasping as if amused. They told me you help people. John looked her up and down, military boots, old duffel bag, torn jacket. She looked like a soldier, but one who had lost the war. And then he noticed the twins, a boy and girl, no older than 4, shivering and too quiet for children their age. Come in, John said without thinking. He didn't ask her name. Not yet. Inside, the woman didn't say much. She wrapped the children in warm blankets, her eyes darting to every sound in the house like she was still in enemy territory. Name's John, he finally said, setting a steaming mug of tea in front of her. And you? She hesitated. People used to call me Ray. Sergeant Ray Hart. The name stirred something in John's memory. He'd read it in the news once, on a list of soldiers presumed dead during a classified mission overseas. But before he could ask, she shifted, and the sleeve of her jacket fell just enough for John to glimpse something strange on her forearm. A tattoo. Military style. But not just any emblem. It was the insignia of Operation Echostorm. That mission was top secret. No survivors. All agents were declared Kia. Why was this woman alive? As days passed, John learned fragments of her story. Ray never spoke in full detail, but bits slipped out in her sleep, names, screams, coordinates. Luke quickly bonded with the twins, and for the first time in years, John's house echoed with the sound of children laughing. But the closer they got, the darker things became. One night, John walked into the kitchen to find Ray cleaning a pistol she claimed she didn't own. He asked where she got it. She didn't answer. Another time, the twins found a burnt photo buried in her bag, a picture of her and 5 other soldiers, all of whom were listed as dead. And behind them, something was scribbled in pen. Not everyone who dies is buried. John didn't sleep that night. The next morning, 2 black SUVs parked across the street. Men in plain suits came knocking. We're looking for a woman traveling with 2 kids, one said calmly. A Sergeant Hart. We have reason to believe she's mentally unstable. John said he hadn't seen anyone. But when he turned around, Ray was gone, and so were her kids. White heavy checkmark, TOB continued in Chapter 2. Want to see how this story ends? Subscribe to the channel and get ready for Chapter 2, where secrets are revealed, past missions are uncovered, and a single dad faces a choice that could change everything. Chapter 2, The Mission That Never Ended. 3 weeks had passed since Ray and her twins vanished into the cold mist of morning. John searched every corner of town, every trail, every hidden path near the woods. Luke asked about his friends daily. Each time, John told him they'd be back soon, even though his heart told him otherwise. Until one night. He found a package on his doorstep, no return address, only his name in careful handwriting. Inside, a flash drive. A note. A picture. The note read, "If anything happens to me, make this public. They'll come for you next." The picture was of a heavily secured compound, somewhere in Eastern Europe. In the center stood a familiar face, Ray. But this Ray wasn't the broken soldier he met weeks ago. She was in full tactical gear, holding a rifle, leading a group of children through what looked like an escape corridor. John plugged in the flash drive. His screen flickered alive with a classified video file. Ray's voice began narrating. "If you're watching this, it means I didn't make it. My name is Sergeant Ray Hart, and I was part of Operation Echostorm, a mission to extract political prisoners from an unmarked facility run by a rogue military contractor. We were told the place didn't exist. But it did. We weren't rescuing prisoners. We were lab rats. Test subjects for memory reprogramming, weaponized trauma, and psychological erasure. They turned us into ghosts. Everyone died. Or so they thought. I made it out, with the twins, born inside the facility. They were never meant to exist. They carry the genetic imprint of the program. That's why they want them back. They'll stop at nothing. Even now, if you're near me. You're already in danger. John sat back, breath gone. Every word confirmed what he feared, and more. He made a choice. The next morning, John packed up everything, grabbed Luke, and left town. But they didn't go far. He had a mission now. Protect the twins. Find Ray. Expose the truth. For weeks, John followed the digital trail Ray left behind, burner phones, data caches, encrypted coordinates. Then, in a ghost town near the Canadian border, he found her. Bleeding, cornered, but alive. Ray had been fighting her way through enemy lines, an underground network of rogue agents who defected from the program and now sought to destroy its last traces. They called themselves the Phantom Fold. And they wanted the twins. John took Ray and the kids back to an off-grid cabin owned by his late father. There, over firelight and silence, she told him everything. They erased my memory, she whispered. But not my instincts. I tattooed that emblem on myself to remind me I survived something no one was meant to. My kids, they weren't born. They were made. I escaped with them because I wouldn't let them become tools. John looked at her with a mix of awe and grief. You're the strongest person I've ever met. You're the bravest, she said back. You took in someone you knew nothing about. They didn't kiss. They didn't need to. But that night, when the agents came, they were ready. John had rigged the cabin with traps and EMPs. Ray held her position like a trained warrior. Together, they fought off the final wave. When the dust settled, they burned everything behind them. Months passed. Ray got new papers. The twins went to school under new names. John, Ray, Luke, and the kids lived quietly in another town, just another blended family with secrets no one would believe. But John knew. Some missions don't end in explosions. Some victories happen in silence.